every morning everybody's made to watch a video that says vote no. They're mailing stuff to our house, vote no. Sending text messages to our phone, vote no. So everybody knows what Mercedes' position is, and it's up to the workers to decide.
So everybody knows the Mercedes union election with the UAW is the talk of the town. That's what everybody's talking about. That's what has got the BCA and the political class in Alabama just running around, scared, crying, all this kind of stuff. I imagine that, these folks are just like wailing in a fetal position every night, like, so we wanted to, in the final week, this is going to be our last show before we know the results of the election. The election is going to be May 13 to 17, Monday through Friday. It is going to end Friday morning. So by Saturday morning, by this time next week, we will know whether or not they have voted to unionize. So we wanted to talk to some folks from the facility today to give us some of the inside scoop on what's going on in the facility in the run-up to the election. So Jeremy, thank you for your time. Jeremy brought along another worker, so if you could introduce yourself and welcome to the program.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy Kimbrell. Randall, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Randall. I been there 20 years.
Randall, Jeremy, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. If you could, Jeremy, can you remind folks of, some of the reasons that y'all are wanting to unionize? Because one of the things, and I think they have kind of moved away from this, but one of the initial responses to the union campaign was that you don't deserve better, that you've got it great already, that there are no problems, and you don't deserve any more because you got it so dang good right now. What were the reasons that you wanted to organize?
Yeah, pretty much because of where we live here in Alabama. They just kind of treated us like, you ought to be lucky to have a job. And, they would give us less money than we deserve compared to the big three, even though we're Mercedes and build $100,000, even $250,000 luxury vehicles. And just because we're down here in Alabama, they say, you're well paid for the area. And they had also introduced a two-tier pay scale where the new workers made $5 an hour less. Since then, since the union campaign, they did do away with the two-tier pay scale, gave all the workers a $2 an hour raise. But we've been here before. I mean, we've been 5-6 years with pretty much no raises, and our insurance gets more expensive every year. Did away with retiree insurance. So, what kind of a place is this going to be to work in the coming years and for the next generation if we don't take a stand at some point? We just won't treat it fair.
Right. And so that's been kind of, you mentioned that there's been something of a raise since the campaign started. They also fired the U.S. CEO for Mercedes, and they've got a new guy in there. And that is kind of representative of the broader shift in strategy from, I think, both Mercedes and I don't know how much Mercedes really leaned into the you don't deserve better, but that was really part of the BCA and the politicians campaign at the beginning. But now there is more of a shift from both Mercedes and the politicians to say like, oh, you're right, there are problems, but we're fixing it. You don't need to organize. Look, we got a new CEO. He's going to be great. How have workers in the factory, in the shop, reacted to these changes? Have they made some workers more reticent to unionize, or have they emboldened workers and said, look, this is what I'm getting with just a talk of a union. Imagine what I can get if I actually unionize. Randall, what are folks saying?
Folks are saying, well, why 2 weeks? Why didn't they do it 2 years? If they truly cared about us, they could have done it 2 years ago instead of waiting before, 2 weeks before the election and stuff. It's persuading some. They want to give them a chance and stuff, but most of them's not. They're not buying it.
Right.
You know, they know it's just a trick.
How have folks been reacting to Matthew Wilson's interventions recently?
They're taking it as it's very odd to do something like that. You know, I just had to scratch my head on that. You know.
Yeah, just for folks who weren't listening earlier in the program, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but we mentioned it briefly. City councilor and preacher Matthew Wilson has apparently been seen on the shop floor talking to people, asking them, "Please don't vote for the union, please." You know, so yeah, I agree, Randall. I think that's kind of odd. That seems strange. Jeremy, what about you? How have folks been reacting to Wilson or to any of these other things? That Mercedes has been doing, and the commercials and the website and everything from the BCA and folks like Governor Ivey and things like this. How have folks been reacting when you've been talking to them?
Yeah, so it's all a different thing. Governor Ivey has her impact has been negative for her and for Mercedes. The BCA has had no impact, just like Governor Ivey. People are on to the deal where the people in power trying to control those who actually do the work. So that didn't benefit Mercedes at all. Firing the CEO, it had some people reconsidering, but what I told them is I've had 6 or 7 CEOs, and then I named the most memorable thing that each one did. And the most memorable thing that each one did was negative. Either forced workers out, the next CEO didn't bring them back, the next CEO no raises, told people if they wanted raises they could volunteer for overtime, and the last CEO introduced 2-tier pay. And all of them had some, when they came in the door, they all had some benefit that they offered that was kind of their, look what I can do, but it never lasts. It's all about making the most profits with companies. And this one has shown that the goal is to send as much profit back to Germany and the shareholders as possible. So while some people, primarily it's the anti-union folks that are saying, give the new guy a chance. It's having some impact on those in the middle, but overwhelmingly our supporters are sticking with it. So, if you're a betting man, put your bet on unionization.
There you go. Well, that's what I would do if I was a betting man myself. That's interesting that is interesting that your perception is that actually the BCA and the Ivy campaign has overall been negative insofar as it relates to their goal of persuading people not to unionize. It's had the opposite effect, if any, which is to push people towards unionization. But that hasn't always been the reaction to political elites and folks like this intervening in these elections. At Volkswagen in Tennessee, there was a huge full court press by the governor and other politicians in Tennessee to encourage people not to unionize, and it worked that time. What would you say what is the difference? Why did it work then and it's not working now?
Yeah, a lot of our new workers came in under that 2-tier pay regime, and it's not like we suddenly decided that was a bad idea. We thought that was a bad idea from the go. So when you have workers that's been there 20 plus years, and they see, a new generation coming in that could be their sons and daughters, and for no reason, profits weren't a question. They were overflowing. And they said, we want to pay these workers less. Well, that says 2 things. The one thing it says is really we've decided that we really are overpaying our workers that have been here a long time. And then we're saying, you know what, we really don't value what you new workers are bringing to the table. So we're going to pay you less. and even though they threw some money at us this year, let's just say, okay, the workers believe it and say, okay, we're voting 100-0 to not have a union. And then you look at the history of the company, and if we go years without a raise, or if our insurance continues to get worse, or we have no real retirement, then what did we really gain? Nothing. We lose every year. So what we know is we know our company, and for the most part, most of us know we can't trust them. We just got to trust each other, that we've got each other's best interests at heart. And so we'll unionize the plant, and then at the table, based on the power of the profits of the vehicles we build and the strength of the workers at the plant, we'll get a good contract.
Right.
That's right.
Jeremy, one of the funnier things I think that I've seen Mercedes do is the UAW put a picture of this out on Twitter. There are signs, big banners on either side of Mercedes gates as you're going into the plant, and on the outside it says "Your vote matters, vote," and that's all it says. And then on the inside it says "Vote no" on the union. Has that kind of struck people as strange, that they don't want to send the same message to the folks inside the plant as the folks outside the plant? Have folks noticed that?
Yeah, they noticed it. It didn't strike anybody as strange. Mercedes has been lying for months now about what they're doing inside the plant. People that's been around organizing 25, 30 years have said this is the strongest anti-union campaign they've ever seen. Mercedes is a liar. They lie every day. So nobody was surprised. We thought it was pitiful. And actually, yesterday, I don't know who got to them, but somebody made them replace those signs. Now the sign on the inside the gate says "Vote" also. They took down the "Vote no" signs, but it doesn't matter, because every morning everybody's made to watch a video that says "Vote no" on the TVs all day long. It's "Vote no." They're mailing stuff to our house, "Vote no." Sending text messages to our phone, "Vote no." So it's everybody knows what Mercedes' position is, and it's up to the workers to decide.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Randall, as you've been having conversations with people about the union campaign and encouraging people to support the union campaign, what have been some of the common threads that you have heard from other workers there about why they've been convinced to support the unionization effort?
Well, I mean, we all have one goal: to make this place a better job. Mistreatment, we have all in common. Group leaders' discretion and family life. It's just the conditions that we're working in is just unreal. That's some of the common grounds that we have. We've done away with two-tier pay by speaking out, but there's so much more that we could get unionizing.
Right. And, you being a 20-year employee, that's been something that has struck me about this campaign, is how many folks who have been there a long time are at the center of this campaign. Because, when you talk about two-tier, the folks who have been there for 20 years have it, pretty measurably better than folks who are coming in right now, right? And so there are a lot of people who would kind of say, look, I've been here for 20 years. Maybe I'm only 5-10 years, maybe 15 from retirement. I just want to coast on out. I want to, I've got my tier 1 benefits. I'm not going to worry about everybody else. Things are good for me, and I'm satisfied. Why is it that in this campaign there are so many people who have been there for 10, 20 years who are leading the union campaign?
They watched it deteriorate. And when we leave, we want it to be better than what we left it. we've been there and just see things go down south. And it's not all about us. It's about the younger generations. And what do we want to leave behind? We want to leave it in a mess, or do we want it to prosper in the future?
For folks that you've been talking to during this campaign that were on the fence but have ultimately decided that they are going to support, or maybe for folks who have not supported previous campaigns, what has been the thing that flipped them from a no to a yes, or from undecided to a yes?
They just got tired of it. They knew what was going on. They seen that nothing's going to change.
Volkswagen workers in Chattanooga, I mentioned that there's been a couple of failed campaigns there, but they just won really bigly, as some might say, 70-something% in favor of the union. And the UAW recently put out a really powerful video. It's about 3 minutes long, so it's a little long for a clip, but I do want to go ahead and play it because it's such a powerful video. So I'm going to play this, and I'm not sure if y'all are going to be able to hear it, Ben. If you could get it to where they can hear it, that'd be great. But I'm sure y'all have seen it already. But I'm going to play this and let folks hear it because it is so good. And then I want to come back to y'all and talk about your reaction and your coworkers' reaction to the Volkswagen workers' win in Chattanooga. Let's play this clip.
One standing alone can be bowled over. But you got a multitude together as one. You're not going to move that. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. United we stand, divided we fall. And that's one thing we have to guard against in this union drive. Be truth tellers. Face the fear. And you know what fear does? Well, fear destroys and causes you not to act when you should. But you know what? Faith goes beyond fear. And you look for the light, the facts, the truth. That's what emboldens you. That is the very DNA of this nation, is the ability to act on truth. Because at first in our hearts, when you have liberty in here, you'll be able to build liberty out there amongst the people.
Feeling really great.
On the radio or as a podcast, this is video from the Union Hall as Volkswagen workers are watching the vote.
We're gonna win. It's just how big we're gonna win.
Hey, wait, you're going to work? You get off shift, you're going to be in a union. Yeah!
12.5 years of fighting for this. Now, we need Mercedes. It's time the South steps up.
Y'all hold your head up high. Just know that y'all made history today, and it's a beautiful thing.
Many of the talking heads, the pundits, have said to me repeatedly, you can't win in the South. But you all said, watch this. And as Matthew 17:20 states, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Are you ready to move another mountain? this historic victory. And tomorrow, we go to fight.
Domino just fell, baby.
That's right. That's right.
So, for folks who are just seeing that for the first time, you might be crying. I know that I came very close the first time that I watched that. It's a very powerful video. So, Randall, we'll start with you. What was your reaction to the win at Volkswagen, and how have folks that you talk to regularly in the plant reacted to that?
It was huge. It just showed us that the South can do it, that we can dream big. It's not only in North, we can reach our goals that the Northerns do. We can get paid just as much as them. Just because we live in the South don't mean we can dream and get it. And it made a very positive impact on our campaign. They've been through the same stuff that we have, but this time they didn't get fooled. And that's our crystal ball, and we're going to do the same thing they did. We're going to move that mountain, and we're going to get our union.
Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, it showed people that it is possible. Because, we looked up at Volkswagen and like there's something we talk about called the Alabama discount. And, Chattanooga is not far from Alabama. And all these car companies that came in after Mercedes, each one paid less than the one before, had worse benefits than the one before. Mm-hmm. And that continued with Volkswagen. So, in the past, when we look up at Volkswagen, we were like, man, those guys have got to vote a union in, and they came close twice. So finally, on the third try, when you see that they were successful, then that's just proof that, it's not impossible. And so it gave our workers down here, those that had been putting in the work and talking to people, and they were like, man, it really can happen. So it definitely was a positive impact on us.
Right. Well, Jeremy, Randall, is there anything else that you think folks ought to know about this campaign? As voting begins on Monday, is there anything that you want to make sure you leave folks with before we let you go?
I think the whole world should know how Mercedes has been handling this campaign and stuff. They've been lying. They've been doing everything they can to prevent us from having our own union. They've been trying to persuade the votes. Of course, yesterday with a pastor walking around trying to persuade votes, giving this man a chance. They had their chance 20 years ago. Everything just deteriorated. And why now they want to act like they care about us? No, we're not going to be fooled this time. We're going to get our union.
All right, Jeremy, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just say to anybody that sees your program, man, this campaign is even bigger than just Mercedes. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what the Mercedes star is about and what it represents. And it's so much more important than even just the workers inside the Mercedes plant. So how can you, if you are sympathetic to our cause, how can you help? If you're a union member or somebody that supports unions and you know somebody that works at Mercedes, reach out to that person and encourage them to vote yes starting Monday evening. Vote yes, send a message, and after Mercedes votes yes, then we're going to get the rest of the state. People are not going to take advantage of Alabama workers anymore.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, brothers, for both of you for what you're doing in this campaign, because you're exactly right. It's bigger than just you and your coworkers at Mercedes. It's something that impacts all of us as working people here in the South, and it's given us all, as unionists, a lot of hope and energy, seeing the organizing that's happening, seeing, like you said, it's possible with Chattanooga, and the progress you're making in Tuscaloosa, and then next Montgomery and on from there. So thank you both for all the hard work you're doing. I know you're spending a lot of extra time, having a lot of conversations, doing a lot of work on this, and so it's all going to be worth it. And the working people of Alabama stand with you.
Yep. Thanks for your time.
Thank y'all.
All right, folks. Jeremy and Randall from Mercedes out in Volkswagen, out in Tuscaloosa. Mercedes out in Tuscaloosa.
Can't wait to celebrate next week. It's gonna be a big win.
Yeah.
Who knows what will happen with the 2024 general election and all that, but this election right here in the state of Alabama is gonna make waves. It's gonna have a lasting impact, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I feel really good about what's going to happen. I'll feel a lot better when we get the results, but it's going to be a monumental election. And I think if and when these brothers and sisters win this union, it's going to really, it's going to make waves throughout the state, throughout the South, and I think honestly globally. I think folks around the world will see workers in Alabama standing up to corporate power, and I think it will inspire a lot of people. So it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. It's one of the biggest things happening in the South right now. So kudos to all the folks who've been putting in that hard work. Kudos to the workers who are leading the way. Kudos to UAW for recognizing where maybe mistakes have been made in the past and where they could do better, and how they could better support these workers in helping facilitate their own leadership and their own militancy. So good work all around. And despite this massive opposition we're getting from politics and from the media and the corporate class, I'm hopeful when I hear Jeremy say that working people just aren't buying this crap, and so stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.